All right, hello. So I am going to be talking about giving students choices in the classroom. So I attended the Distance Teaching and Learning Conference in Madison this summer. And one big takeaway was that we give students a lot of choices to their teaching learning styles in the classroom, but do we do that with our assignments? So one of the big picture takeaways was, do we tailor our assignments, not just our lectures, to students' learning styles? And if you think about it, what we do, we have visuals, right? Tons of PowerPoints, auditory, we're talking to them the whole time. And I'm sure a lot of us do hands-on activities or practice worksheets, so they're doing it by hand. But are they doing that with their homework as well? So reasons this was important that they outlined. One, they come in on day one and get your syllabus. Do they look at it and go, oh, for the semester? Or are they excited these are projects that we actually want to do? And I'm sure at some point we've all seen that this felt like busy work on your TVAL somewhere along the way. But does it look like busy work, or does it feel like that? Or is it something they're going to like and actually get something out of? And so by giving them different choices, different assignment paths, we can give them choices and control over how they learn. So here's how I put this into practice. So in my Business Foundations class, it's essentially our introduction to business class, I give them 2 assignment options for a fairly low stakes assignment throughout the semester. So one option is to do a current news article write-up and a short shout out in class. And the other is a mini simulation. It's a little more detail here. So they have to go out and find a current news article. They have some questions to answer to relate that article to our class content. And then they have to give us a quick 30-second from their seat announcement about what that article is. And it's designed to circulate news. They don't read the news very often, what I found in business. So can we circulate those ideas? The second option is a mini simulation, and this is essentially a decision tree. So they go out to the content we're covering and work through, if you make this decision, what happens? Now if you make this decision, how does that play into the outcome? And so throughout the semester, they can choose, they have to do 2, and they can choose 1 of each or 2 of the same one. And here's what I found. Students were a lot happier when they could choose. They're getting to learn about something that they are excited about. They don't have to cover finance. If they hate that, they can cover entrepreneurship instead. So they were a lot happier making their choices. And they also get to choose their topic and due date. So I don't outline that either. I let them pick throughout the semester. I found that beneficial because then obviously they do something they like. It's current with where I'm at in the content in class, and it spreads out the grading if you can do that throughout the semester. Couple of other tips that we learned. One was that 2 to 3 options are a good range. Any more than that, it can be a lot of overwhelming information for students. So keeping it to just a few. And then you would need to choose 2 different styles that would fit your material, because that would be different for every class. So maybe they have to get up and give a PowerPoint presentation. Maybe they do a paper or a video upload, or maybe testing, whatever the right medium would be. I always see at the beginning of the semester, students like to tell me, most of them tell me, I'm a visual learner. Do they actually know that quite yet? So one thing I do is always ask them, what do you like to do? If that gets them thinking about things they like, maybe we can tie that to the topics we're going to talk about. So if I'm really into sports and sports marketing, great, we're going to talk about a marketing chapter. That would be up your alley. I also have them take a learning styles test. Again, they like to tell me what they think, but I do have them go out and actually take one. And that education planner learning styles, that's linked in the PowerPoints later, but that's one I have them go do. And then they can also find out what types of projects are good for them. They can also find out the ways to study for that particular style. So I do make them go do that at the beginning of the semester as well. And one other thing I found between the 2 assignments, so allowing writers to write and publicly speak, or being able to do a simulation that requires no interaction in the classroom, I've seen that introverts sometimes prefer the simulation. That would kind of make sense, the public speaking. But surprisingly, I also had those same people say, I really want to work on my presentation skills, and 30 seconds from your chair where you don't have to look at anybody else was a great way to do that. So they appreciated that too. Strong writers were just like, you know what, it's easier to do the article. So lots of different variation, even from different student types. So that's what we learned at that conference, and bringing it back and putting it into practice. So if you have questions, my email is rebecca3@ksu.edu, and I'm happy to answer anything you might have. Thank you.